Hi, welcome to the 1 in 20 show, where we're looking to find the next 1 in 20 successful individuals who are pursuing their passions so that you can too. And today we're joined by Jen.
Jen Matichuk is a multifaceted creator from Canada. She attended Yale University, where she studied film and eventually made her way to Los Angeles. She is most known for her work with Rhett and Link on Good Mythical Morning, in which she has been a brand manager and producer for many years. She loves exploring nature and photographing her travels and hopes to create films of her own in the future.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming to my house.
Of course.
All the way from Burbank.
I mean, it wasn't that bad of a drive. So.
Yeah, well, probably not at 8 o'clock, right?
Yeah, true.
Traffic hour. Anyway, I wanted to kind of chat with you starting about college, because I know you attended Yale University. Something that we kind of talk about a lot on here is like coming up, if you're trying to get into the arts, do you choose school? Do you go right into the industry? How does that all work? So what was your experience like at Yale?
Well, I didn't go to Yale necessarily thinking I want to go into the film industry. That wasn't, I mean, it was there a little bit, but I went there because I got to play hockey there. So that was my path. They recruited me. The coach called me up and recruited me over there. And the first couple of years, I actually wanted to do pre-med, which didn't pan out. But I eventually realized that the reason why I wanted to do pre-med is because I watched a lot of Grey's Anatomy. And I was like, wait, so I really like Grey's Anatomy, but I don't like medicine.
Right.
What's the connection there?
Sure.
And I've always loved film, and I did a little bit of acting when I was in high school. So I was like, well, this seems like the right kind of path.
Yeah.
So I started studying film. I declared my major, I think, I don't even know when that was, like sophomore year, I think. I declared my major and started pursuing film. Unfortunately, with hockey, I couldn't do the film production part of the major, but I could do the screenwriting one. So I did screenwriting. That was my senior thesis. I wrote a full-length screenplay, and that's like the short version of my time at Yale in terms of my path towards the arts.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's something that's actually kind of interesting about some people that I know who pursued sports in that way, like collegiately, and then realized that they love the arts, so they wanted to do something else. It's kind of hard to do both at the same time. So kudos to you for like continuing to do it in the midst of all that.
I mean, it was tough. Like, first of all, schoolwork. Second of all, hockey, which is like, people don't realize that. I mean, maybe some, obviously the athletes do, but some people don't realize the amount of time it takes to be a varsity athlete. Not that I'm complaining, but it's like, you have to go to practice by like 3 p.m. and then you have dry land training, and then you have actual practice, and then you have cool down, and then you have to get ready for the next day, but you also have to eat, and you have to get enough sleep, otherwise you're going to suck the next day at practice, and then you might not play in the game on the weekend. And like, the whole reason I got into Yale was because I played hockey. And I'm not going to sacrifice being good at that for something else.
Sure.
But I also have a career that I want to get into. So it's like trying to find that balance. Oh, I keep hitting this.
No,
thing.
you're good.
I'm trying to find that like balance of, I want to be really great at hockey, and I also want to do really well at school, but then I also want to hang out with friends and see cool people that go to Yale.
Yeah.
And then I also, after the end of my freshman year, I tacked on doing theater.
Wow.
So I also did theater at Yale.
Yeah.
Because I studied abroad in London after my freshman year for 6 weeks, and I studied theater.
Wow, that's cool.
And that, like,
I'm sure.
oh my god.
Yeah, in the place it was created.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
It was so, like, I think about that trip all the time. I haven't been outside of North America since then.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Which is a long time. That was 2010.
Yeah.
But like, that 6 weeks, I think about a lot. Like, I got to see 2 plays a week.
Wow.
and then go over them with like a professional theater person.
Yeah, prof or whatever,
professor.
yeah, sure.
But yeah, that was awesome. So like tacking theater onto my studies, hockey. I didn't sleep a lot.
Yeah, I can guess that. After all that, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I saw Nate was like nodding his head. We were roommates in college, and he played baseball, and that was
so
his life too. And he was trying to do film, so like it was all kind of a mix. But that is cool. And you mentioned abroad, and we've talked on this show a lot about abroad because. And what kind of effect that has on perspective, what it has on if you're pursuing the arts, what it does for you in the arts. I studied abroad in Italy my sophomore year, and I loved it to death. And that's something that totally changed my perspective forever on anything I would pursue in the arts.
Did you study film in Italy?
We did, it was a mix of, it was like a gen ed trip. Like I could go and get gen ed done, but it was like, English lit, it was like arts history, it was Latin, it was things that like were of the arts, kind
all
of the
liberal
humanities
arts stuff.
Yeah,
awesome.
But I was still shooting while I was there. Like I still got to do that, so I got to kind of see and take in art. And what would you say like the importance is of going abroad?
Oh, it's very important. I mean, if you have the opportunity to, absolutely try and do it, because number one, I think it teaches you how to be on your own a little bit, even outside of college. Like you're still babied a little bit in college, but if you go and study abroad, you, especially in a place that's a foreign language, I didn't do that. London's
really,
a
safe space. Yeah, it's just the accent.
It's not super. I got robbed in London.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That was a learning point for me.
Yeah. We almost did in Italy too, like
really?
Pickpocketed. Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, let me tell you the story of me getting robbed. It's crazy. People, anytime I tell people this, they're like, what? But I was by myself at night.
That's where you went wrong.
Great
in a foreign country.
Well, this is what being abroad taught me.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
I think it does for everybody.
I think I learned some street smarts there, but I was alone at night because I was overconfident. And I went up to an ATM because I was going to go visit a friend who was studying in a different program. So I separated from my program and went to go walk to his program.
Sure.
And it wasn't too far, but I went to an ATM because I was like, well, I know we're going to go out. And I'm like, I put my card in, typing my PIN in, and some guy like hits me on the arm. And then I look over and he throws something on the ground. It looks like 10 pounds or something. And he's like, you dropped that. And I was like, no, I didn't. And then as I'm like looking back, this other guy comes in and swipes my card out of the machine and like sprints down the street.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, what? And then this guy next to me
oh my gosh.
runs away too. And I'm like waiting for my money to come out because he didn't grab my money, he just grabbed my card.
Sure.
So I like grab my money and I like sprint after the guy that was the one that dropped the money on the ground. And I like grabbed him and I was like, where's my card? In hindsight, that was also stupid because he could have had like a knife
but
or
bold
something.
And valiant.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And obviously the guy saw my pin over my shoulder because I'm not aware of my surroundings.
Yeah.
And he went and used it at an ATM like down the block. But I called my bank and it was all fine.
Right.
I was shooken up.
Yeah.
From then on, for the rest of the trip, I made like all of my friends surround me when I used an ATM.
Yeah.
But
that's smart.
I think that being abroad taught me those useful skills. It also like just taught me to explore and go find cool things and learn about new stuff.
Yeah.
Like I have a great appreciation also for British landscape art. Because I also studied that.
That's cool.
Modern British drama and British landscape art.
Wow.
So I went to a lot of different galleries and everything.
Yeah.
And I love it now. It like, some people think it's boring because it's just like a painting of a field with some trees.
Yeah.
But it also like has enhanced. I do landscape photography a lot as well.
I was going to touch on your outdoors stuff later.
Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
like, because of that, I am so much better at shooting that stuff. So those are, I guess, two positive things.
Yeah, totally. I think for like from a filmic point of view, when I like approach composition and all that, I think I learned a big portion of that from seeing the masters in Italy and see how they framed and composed, and lighting as well. Like that's big too. Like you don't really think about that. We don't have to get into minutia, but that for sure is something you don't really consider. You don't consider like the texture at which they choose to paint on, or like the famous School of Athens painting. It was in the Vatican, and we walked in, and you would expect it to be like on a canvas or whatever, and it's just literally painted on the wall.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my gosh, like on a rock, somebody was able to do with such detail, with no tech, nothing. Like that was just phenomenal. So
pure skill.
But I found that going abroad was really big for me and is for a lot of people. So I'm glad you said that. I think a lot of college kids assume that they don't have the time to go necessarily, depending on what their degree is, what their major is, all that stuff. That's really like kind of a challenge to think about. But yeah, that's awesome.
Oh yeah. I mean, like after I did this, and I only did it over the summer because I couldn't during the fall.
That's what we did too. Yeah.
Yeah, summer. Because I had to play hockey. But what I did after that is we had a student group that was called the Center for International and Professional Experience, and they were basically a group of students that tried to get the word out to kids at Yale that you basically are given free money to go to these places because they want you to go experience
totally.
this stuff. Like my London trip was free. I didn't have to pay a cent.
Right, because it was on scholarship still.
I didn't. Hockey. No, Yale doesn't do scholarships.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But like, based on your financial aid,
they
will give you a certain amount of money.
That's really interesting.
So, I mean, I spent a lot of hours trying to convince people like you should go abroad. Like, basically free.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, in our case, technically, like, I don't think I had any grants for it, but at the same time, it's like a fraction of the cost to get an entire semester of units. And I was like, heck yeah, like in 6 weeks, I'll do it. Why not? Like just get it and turned out to be the best decision ever. That's where I met my girlfriend and we started dating, and like
that's
all
awesome.
kinds of things have happened from that, and I'm happy about it. But let's get back to like just creativity and the arts, and how you took maybe some of those experiences to go to Good Mythical Morning with Rhett and Link, and do all of that stuff. What led you from graduation to getting there? Did you have jobs in between? Like, how did that whole thing work out?
Oh gosh. After I graduated, I was a bit of a hot mess. I mean, I knew
like
that
everybody is.
Right? I knew that I wanted to go to LA. Like that was the thing. I wanted to do that. Actually, right after I graduated, I went home to Canada and I made a video, just like a short, it's like 10, what's it called? It's like 10 reasons you're a liberal arts grad or something like that. It's so dumb.
I love those though. They're funny.
It's on my YouTube channel, buried deep somewhere. But I had a lot of fun making it, and it was like my way of expressing that I was done college, and like I liked making short form content.
Yeah. And
so I made that video, and then after that I was just like, well, now what? So until like mid-June, because I graduated end of May.
Yeah.
So till mid-June, I was like kind of just chilling out for a bit. Yeah. And then at the end of June, beginning of July, I was like, okay, I need to get going on something. Like, I need to start applying to jobs. So I just started applying to jobs in LA, just like random jobs that I found. And I would reach out to a couple friends in LA and be like, hey, can you send me like the UTA job list or whatever? And I wasn't getting I was getting a couple interviews, but I'm in Alberta. Like, they're not going to bring me in.
Yeah, you're
like,
not anywhere close.
No.
So, yeah, right.
And my student visa extension, which is called the OPT, it was about to begin at the end of July. So like I needed to have a job by then, or like
Or you'd have to stay
close to then.
Yeah.
To utilize the full 12 months
Sure.
of the OPT. So I was like, I need to just get out there.
Mm.
So I got a car, and me and my dad just drove to LA. And I had a friend living out there, and she had a bedroom, and I stayed there for a little bit, and I just applied to jobs, like left, right, and center. And I went on probably 20 interviews. I probably applied to over 100 jobs.
Wow.
There was a point where I had to leave that apartment or that house because she no longer had it. So I was sleeping on somebody's couch for a little while, and then I was sleeping on somebody else's couch for a little while.
The LA story, unfortunately.
Still applying to jobs,
Yeah.
still living off my parents' money because I hadn't saved anything because I didn't work in college.
Yeah. How could you?
Yeah, I don't know if I could have done that at all. But my OPT is, if you don't find a job within the first 90 days, it expires. You can't use it.
Wow.
So I had until, I think, the end of September to find a job. And somewhere near the end of August, I applied to this job at Rhett and Link. And it was for the position of brand coordinator. And didn't know who they were at all. I'd never watched anything they'd done. I'm just like applying to everything I could possibly find. And this is back in 2013, so like Good Mythical Morning hadn't taken off yet.
Oh, wow.
Like they had less than
sure.
500,000 subscribers. So
wow. So they were still doing their comedy duo stuff and their music videos.
Yeah,
stuff.
like they Good Mythical Morning existed, but
Yeah.
it wasn't their main focus. Like their music videos on their main channel was their main focus. So I was trying to find jobs, and then ran across that job. They got called me in for an interview. I interviewed with Stevie. It went well. It was great. And they called me back in for a second interview. Interviewed with her and Link. And I made like a PowerPoint presentation of like what I can do for their brand. Basically, brand coordinator was, you're going to run our social medias. So eventually they offered me the job, and I was like, yep, I need this. I will come work for you guys. And I actually got offered the job and got an apartment with a couple of my friends at this, like we secured the apartment on the exact same day.
Wow.
So
that's
like
crazy.
Things lined up.
Yeah.
And so I started the job, and then we moved into our apartment basically the exact same time. So September 2013 was nuts. And I was who was in front of me? It was Stevie, Ben, and Jason was still working there, and then Rhett and Link.
Yeah, so they were just starting out with the big stuff. Wow.
Yeah, so that was
Amazing.
like, that was my path to getting that job. It was a bit hectic, I will say, and a bit stressful, and a lot of times where I was like, I'm going to get deported.
Yeah.
But I made it.
Yeah, you did. You're here now, man.
Still in the U.S.
Yeah, that's so funny. That to me is hilarious. That that the difference between, like, even just with like Michigan and like the states that are on the top, that how close they are to being in Canada, but yet Canada's still a separate entity. Even though it's still North America, it always feels like it's the same place. It's totally not at all.
It'd be really nice if it was the same place. I wouldn't have to be worrying about my visa consistently.
Yeah. Well, but that's really cool. I told you a little bit before we started too that I just see so much of what Rhett and Link do to collectively to let their crew and like everybody around them like be inspired and to create the most that they can. And I wanted to affirm that with you. Like what has it been like to work there? Not details, but just what has it been like to work there for you creatively after your whole college path and flowing into that?
Oh, it's been great. Like when I started there, I did not know what I wanted to do. Like I've always been really into cinematography. I love photography. I like capturing visuals. And so I didn't know how to pursue that. So starting out at Rhett and Link and really learning about social and how to build an audience has been wildly helpful. Like, I feel very confident in the digital sphere now because I know so much about Instagram. I know so much about Facebook. I know so much about Twitter.
So
even
valuable.
Tumblr. Yeah, it's like, and back in 2013, that wasn't necessarily huge. Like, I literally started Rhett and Link's Instagram.
Wow.
I created it for them. But now it's like a big part of their business.
Yeah.
And who would have guessed, right?
No, right.
So being able to learn and get paid to learn about those things and building an audience has been wildly helpful.
Yeah.
Really awesome.
Yeah.
I feel very knowledgeable and confident in the current state of the world. But then they also like encouraged me at one point to follow my I love illustrating stuff. I like to draw. So there was a lot of social at some points that had a lot of my illustrations all over it.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
And I got to pursue that with them. And then there was a point where we were doing a lot of crew-based content with This Is Mythical, which RIP. But I got to help produce a lot of videos on that, be in videos on that. I got to rap.
I saw that on your Instagram. That's funny, yeah.
Like, John and I got to be Jonifer together, and I am very grateful for all of those experiences. I've had an absolute blast, and I've learned so much. Like, being able to be hands-on on a set, actually, like, handling lights, handling cameras, handling sound, seeing how things work, versus just learning about it in a classroom it's night and day. It's like
totally different.
It's insanely different. And it's been very, very helpful.
That's cool. I wish that people would in the film majors specifically, you could probably relate to this. I really wish that was preached more. I can't speak for Yale. For my school, that's how it was, where I felt it was way too much like book smart stuff. And I just don't see that as practical at all unless it's like about the practical. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I had to learn everything I needed to learn about set and set experiences by doing it myself. You hear that a million times from people, but I mean, it's seriously so true. Like, the importance of even like an electrical education on set and stuff that just does not get taught at all. And then you're left to go try it by yourself, and then you blow
Somebody
up a unit or something and then you get yelled at. Or you're liable for a lot of money, and that stuff, just, you can't be taught that stuff.
Right. Well, I would argue that I think that there are places that do teach that.
I've heard. Yeah,
and
for sure.
Yale definitely wasn't a hands-on filmmaking school. It was a liberal arts school. They're going to teach you the history of film and how it came to be. And even in like the past couple months, I've been realizing that knowledge was very helpful to me. Currently, when I'm like framing shots, or if I'm thinking about making my own movie, if I think back to a scene and how it was written, I can kind of figure that out based on all of my knowledge from that.
Sure.
So the book smarty kind of stuff, and like the history of film and the close analysis of film and all that stuff that seems kind of pointless because you're like, I'm just going to be on a set. I think if you're trying to pursue a very creative path in film, is very necessary. Because to have that base and to like draw on like directors that have done incredible things like Hitchcock or something like that.
I'm glad that was your first, because that's my first always too.
I mean, to draw on his techniques, or even like modern people like Wes Anderson, you can pay homage to anything like that and make it show up in your film and have it mean something based on the homage,
Totally.
So
you named two of my top three. Those are my two faves.
Yeah, they know what to do.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, with John Hughes, I love John Hughes a lot too.
Oh yeah.
But I agree. I will agree 100% with that, because I think I'm speaking more to like actual like book stuff, like
Right.
being bookish. But bookish could mean to like consuming film, because that's what you have to do
Yeah.
to understand, like you said, techniques and whatnot. But yeah, that's amazing. I mean, those guys really are the fathers of everything, and of course Spielberg and everybody. But I've seen it trickle down. So like we should kind of talk about this. What's interesting to me is I've seen film techniques trickle down into different assets, different types of media. And I mentioned this to you earlier, but it's very interesting to me that you can have shows like Good Mythical Morning. You can have shows like, even just Ear Biscuits, that's
Right.
long form podcast content. Then you can have really short form content, short films or anything shorter, music videos, all that kind of stuff. And yet they all draw inspiration from those above.
Oh yeah,
Fascinating.
for sure.
It's so interesting.
It's you got to like, you got to look back at how it started, and you've got to pay your respects, I guess.
Totally.
But the reason why people do that is because they know it works, and they know that people can look back on that and make that connection.
Yeah.
So
If you stick to what works, that seems to work.
or like taking something that is very well known and like putting your own spin on it. And I mean, that's all that art is just
Different interpretations.
Yeah, just taking something that already exists and making it your own. There's no such thing as complete originality.
Yeah.
I would argue.
Yeah, totally. I don't think so either. It's all perspective. Yeah, totally. Something I'm interested by, because I know like with social media and all that stuff that you've like studied, like actually studied, which is very interesting, because some people just like get used to it, whatever, like they use it, but they don't really know the game. How much of a game is it? Because I'm just playing devil's advocate, because this is a dumb question, but like how seriously, like all analytics and like how much do you have to actually put into growing it?
A lot. That's why there's full-time jobs for it. It is an aggressive amount of work, because first of all these social media platforms are businesses. So they're trying to be profitable and not have people game their system with reading their analytics and turning them on their head. So they're changing their stuff up every month, every 2 weeks even.
Yeah.
So they will take the algorithms and just shuffle them all up and then let you know like what's new on the algorithm. Yeah. So then you have to change your whole video strategy for it. So, and then it's like you're trying to figure out who likes what, or who retweets what, or who's commenting here and who's tagging their friends here, and trying to take all of that information from all these different social media sources that are all run by different people except Facebook and Instagram, and trying to make sense of it all based on like who's your audience on what platform, and what content they want to see and what content they want to share, and how do you get new people to come to your content. It's insane. It's purely analytics. Social needs a team. Like you can't just have one person. You have to have somebody running the analytics. You have somebody running the day-to-day. You have to have somebody making the content. All of that. So
that's cool. Well, we'll take it to a break and we'll be right back. Okay, hi, welcome back. We kind of stopped. We kind of came down to a landing on the whole social media game, but it is very interesting how much of a science it is. I mean, you think of like Silicon Valley and like everything, all of the money that goes into analytics and like building your brand over a digital interface. And I think about how much it's kind of terrifying sometimes to think about how much confidence we already put in tech, to the point that entire massive films are all digital now. There's no analog whatsoever unless somebody shoots film. Like, it just scares me. I mean, I guess you preserve film too, so you're always in a risk situation, but it's fantastic that we're able to put that into digital, even though it's scary. Like, there's so much that rides on that. Huge business entities ride on the power of digital right now.
Oh yeah. And
it's so interesting. Like, I'm just fascinated by that job that you have. It must be so interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do social for them right now. But I did
in the past.
For 5 years
Yeah.
now. And it was huge. It's now like a part of the business. It makes money and it helps fuel what we do. And some people, their whole career is based off of their Instagram or their Facebook or whatever, and they can make a good amount of money on that.
It's insane.
Like, I don't know if you
Some
just saw
people-
Kim Kardashian's
Yes.
thing about her like charging $500,000 for
Yeah,
a
for
post.
Yeah. I did
Crazy.
see that. That's insane. It's too much. I don't know. It's awesome, but that's a lot.
I feel like I'm not even gonna
it's
have that much
insane.
in my lifetime.
I mean, yeah. I mean, compare something like that to even just like a music video short film, which like that is for an artist, for a label. This is literally a single social media post going onto Instagram, which is only on digital phones.
It's probably like a selfie of her holding the product.
Yeah, that's it.
That she she took 1 second of her day and made $500,000.
I mean, if you think about it, it is genius for like, I think something we could kind of chat about briefly too is like advertising as a whole is flourishing, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's so much insane money going into that, going right into Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
And that never was a thing. Like it was all billboards or word of mouth or like product placement and stuff. But now it's literally just social media.
Well,
that people
billboards are
targeting.
like considered like old media now.
That's so
which
crazy. Like print media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Oh my God.
that's nuts. That is traditional media, and putting an ad on somebody's Instagram is the thing to do. And honestly, it makes sense. Like when GMM started getting bigger and we started getting brand deals, the digital teams didn't really know how to pay Rhett and Link.
Yeah.
Like they're like, we don't know what to charge you for this, but we know you have X amount of viewers that are going to see this, so you get X amount of dollars. And we're like, okay,
Sure. Yeah, you don't say no. Yeah.
because I mean, now it's definitely, there's a lot more analytics on
Yeah.
the turnaround and everything that
Right.
goes with that. But when it was first starting, it
Not
was
a lot.
it was, people were probably making a lot more money than they should have been.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, congratulations to you guys on 15 million. That's
Thank you.
an unheard of number. The more I think about that, and I've thought many times now how even YouTube is now network based, and I mean, because now TV shows aren't getting that kind of a rating anymore.
Oh, no.
A lot of TV is not even getting. Some aren't even breaking 1 million anymore.
Yeah.
And
A lot of them
you guys
are
are
under
1
one.
million every day, every episode, which is fantastic. And
Yeah.
it's cool. I'm fascinated by the formula. Like, I don't want to talk about GMM the whole time, but I am fascinated by like how that formula must work. How many working pieces go into that? How many of you guys like pour out your souls to make that thing happen? And it's just like home run every day. I think it's just awesome. It's crazy.
Well, it is a big process. I'll
Yeah.
say that. We have a team of like 40 something now, I think, on the GMM side. That's not including Smosh. But it starts with the writers who are pitching ideas to Darren, our showrunner, who then takes the ideas and brings them to Stevie and Rhett and Link, and then they choose their ideas, and then they build a slate out of it, and then Jacob schedules out the slate, and Darren takes the slate and assigns episodes to writers, and then writers start writing the episode, and producers are attached to the writers. And from there, the producers start gathering things for the episodes and testing things for the episodes. And then...
Well, and then you have Josh and all of them, like when they're so food based now too.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That was, I heard them say that on an episode that was never expected either, to like hire a chef and then to do all that. That's crazy.
The amount of food episodes we have, I feel like it's 4-1.
It is 4-1 for sure.
I mean,
that's
they
so
do
funny.
well. They do so
Great,
well.
yeah.
And they try not to make all of them gross foods now,
Yeah.
which is breaking away from
Yeah.
what it was in the past.
The one with Jacksepticeye with Breath of the Wild was the most
gosh.
disgusting thing I've ever seen, but hilarious. We were dying laughing watching that one.
He's
That must
a
be crazy.
riot too.
Jack is crazy, yeah.
But yeah, some of the gross stuff they have to eat is horrifying. It's truly horrifying. There's a lot of things that I wish I've never smelled.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm glad I didn't have
Disgusting.
to eat them.
Yeah, it's so gross.
But yeah,
They're
so it's
crazy.
like, it's a huge process. And I think there's a lot of people that don't really understand the amount of work that goes into each episode. They're just, basically they get it every day for free, or Monday through Friday for free,
right.
15 minutes, regardless of the day or whatever,
Sure,
except for when we're in Good Mythical Summer or we're on a
Right,
break.
which is coming up.
Yeah, it's coming up soon, which is only 3 episodes a week.
Still 3 episodes a week.
Exactly.
People don't realize how hard that is. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, after we shoot all of these things, then it has to go to the editors and motion graphics and putting that all together, and then it has to go through reviews, and then it has to go through a sound mix, and then it has to go through a QC, and then it has to get uploaded, and all of the tags have to be added to it and everything, and it has to be scheduled. So it's like all those different things are like a couple different people's jobs.
Yeah.
So
Fascinating.
it's a big process. It involves a lot of people, and a lot of it is their daily job. So
That's crazy. Amazing. That's so cool. But yeah, that's just very interesting to me, the whole digital world that we live in, how it's all based off of these platforms that were not even a thought in Hollywood years ago. YouTube was not even a thought for something like this. Or like even just the shows that they were putting out for a time and all that stuff. But let's talk about you with just kind of the outdoors life that you love to live on the side as well.
right.
You've kind of hinted at some of the abroad stuff, but what brings you to nature like that? And photography and all that stuff?
I mean, I love to be active. I think that's like one of my biggest things. If I don't work out in the day, I get a little bit anxious. But I started hiking and stuff, I would say like 3-ish years ago, 4 years ago, and like really looking around LA to like find cool things, because obviously things ebb and flow. Like you have your down moments and your up moments, and I was looking for things in my vicinity that I could do to experience something new, to get out of what seemed like monotony at the time.
Sure.
So the first time I really like ventured out was with actually one of my coworkers, Casey. And we just took kind of a spontaneous trip to Arizona, because I had made a list of places that I wanted to see the sunrise. And I love sunrises. That's another thing that really motivates me with getting outside. I love the sunrise. But so we were like, okay, so this is one of the places, this is one of the places I want to see the sunrise, and there's another place right by it. So why don't we just take a trip and knock both of those out? Yeah. And I was like, all right. And she was doing a 30-day mission where she was going to time-lapse the sunrise every single morning.
Cool.
But she chose a bad month for it. It was May. And May is basically June with the gloominess.
Yeah.
So she didn't get a lot of great time lapses. But we ended up just taking this trip to Arizona, to like northern Arizona by Lake Powell, and going to Antelope Canyon and going to Horseshoe Bend. Horseshoe Bend was the one that I wanted to see the sunrise.
Of people want to go see that one.
Yeah. But Friday after work, we drove through the night and arrived in Arizona as the sun was rising. So we like took a quick cat nap in the car and then got up, and she time-lapsed the sunrise. And then we went to like a diner and she edited the time lapse. And then we went and pitched our tents for the night to get ready for the next morning, which was to go to Horseshoe Bend. And we saw Antelope Canyon that day before. And it was just like such a fun trip, and so weird and spontaneous, and like I felt very connected to all these things and places, and I love the orange landscape of Arizona. So that was really what like bit me. And then the next couple years I was exploring like crazy. I was going to like this place called The Wave in Arizona, which is like an absurd spot.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So beautiful. Crazy to get to, but so cool. And I went to Havasupai, which was so crazy as well. It was like a 10-mile hike down into the bottom of the Grand Canyon, and like Yosemite, and
did you do Bryce, or did you do
Bryce? Yeah,
Bryce
I did
awesome.
Bryce. I did Zion.
Zion's beautiful.
And like Joshua Tree, and you know, all these like different cool. Oh, and Sequoia.
Yeah, Sequoia.
I love Sequoia. It was beautiful. And then I hiked Half Dome, which was a crazy experience.
Wow, good for you.
I didn't think I was gonna get to the top of that.
Yeah.
By the end, like we started before sunrise and finished after sunset, and we did it all in one day. But getting to the top of that was a great feat, and so cool.
How long did it take you?
All day.
Full
like
day.
20, like what
20
felt like
hours or
24
whatever.
hours.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably 20.
Yeah.
Because we started before sunset and finished, or started before sunrise and finished after sunset. Like I don't even.
Yeah, dark all the way.
We hiked like something like a full marathon.
Wow.
Like 26. That's what my Fitbit said.
And probably at the end is the hardest stretch I've heard. Is
Good
like,
Lord,
how
yeah.
do you get to the?
I was
very
playing
tip?
podcasts to try and get through it.
Oh my
I was listening to
gosh.
How I Built This. I was like, teach me something.
That's
It
really
was
funny.
truly brutal those last couple. And then the worst part, I mean, I still have the whole memory of doing the trip. My GoPro that I used to shoot the whole thing, like I was going to do this whole cool video about it.
It died.
No, it didn't die.
No.
The SD card.
Just fell
Done.
up. Didn't have a backup. No.
I took it out and I tried to
Oh, man.
plug it in to like
Yeah.
upload the photos, and it's like can't read the SD card.
Oh wow, you lost all of it.
I lost everything.
Did you shout out GoPro? GoPro, time to fix that. They probably fixed it in new firmware.
I
but
cried on the
that's
drive
the
home.
worst.
I
What
was-
did you have? What camera?
The 4.
The 4.
Yeah.
Wow. I've had that happen before with mine a long time ago.
And like
Dang.
it was like $400 to get the footage back, and it
You did
wasn't
get
even
it though. No.
wasn't even guaranteed. So I was like, I'm
Yeah,
not
those
gonna.
houses, man.
I was like, I'm not gonna do that. You know,
Yeah.
I'm just maybe this was a thing that I just need to let go. I need to.
You saw it. You did see it with
Exactly.
your mind's eye. At least you.
I had a couple iPhone pictures that
Yeah.
luckily I took, but like that sucked.
Yeah. My prof who did it has video of parts of it, and he also has video of him climbing. I think it's the Swiss Alps.
Oh shoot.
There's video of him like in the blizzard, him and his partner, and they're climbing it in a blizzard, and they're almost at the top. And he says
That's nuts.
he remembers that feeling of adrenaline, and then on top of that, not being able to feel anything, not having any strength left. Can you imagine like that kind of thing? I imagine that's kind of how that probably felt when you were
Probably
getting toward
not
the
as
top.
bad as that.
Yeah, but anyway, just that's amazing. But it makes you appreciate so much more about life, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like even I went to I remember in high school I went to Zion
Okay. Yeah.
with my family. We went to Zion, we went to Monument Valley, we went to the Four Corners, and I've been to Colorado. I've been kind of around those areas. Nothing like it. Like nothing like it. We went to Moab in Utah, and like
Yeah.
nothing like that ever.
The landscape
There's
is
nothing.
truly insane.
Yeah.
Like,
all red everywhere.
Love the colors.
so
It's
cool.
my favorite colors. Like I follow so many Utah-based photographers
Yeah,
just
they do good
because
stuff.
I like seeing it on my feed. Like I would move to Utah. Southern Utah is beautiful. Northern Arizona, really love that too.
I had friends who went to NAU,
Okay.
which is in where's that, Flagstaff?
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
they loved it. I mean, because it's kind of a little different. It's not as hot. It's more foresty or whatever
Yeah.
in that area. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's. I mean, it's beautiful, and like I mean, we could even speak to like GoPro and stuff too, because GoPro, for me, when I did trips like that, I know you probably relate to this. Like that was such a part of that trip for me.
Oh, yeah.
Was everything I took on my GoPro. That's why having Abe on the show a long time ago, and
Was
having
pretty-
those and Chris, those guys who like all do that for a living, It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, GoPro's so cool, like what they've been able to do. But yeah, like the new 7 has 4K 60 on it. It has a new vertical capability because they realized how much 1080 by 1920 is popular now for the Instagram stories, and they have live capabilities. You can live with it now, like off of Facebook or off of
That's
it
awesome. Connects.
All Wi-Fi and all that stuff. But yeah, for me, that was an enabling device when I was younger. And it was just so fascinating to me that you could make that a part of your travels.
Yeah.
Really interesting. It's very interesting.
I feel like the iPhone's doing that too, so.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, it's taking over. iPhone films now too, like full length films are being shot on that. It's insane. Do you have like a very favorite place that you've gone? Sounds like you've been a lot of places, so.
Very favorite place that I've gone. It's hard to say. Like, I mean, I think that Yosemite has a special spot in my heart.
Yeah.
I truly love it there. There's nothing like it.
Yep.
Just like driving that drive-in.
Oh, it's beautiful. Oh. The tunnels too, and like wow.
I love it. I mean, I could say, I'll say Yosemite.
Yeah.
That's my spot. I mean, I haven't been to enough places more than once to say that it's my favorite.
Yeah.
I also love all of the national parks in Alberta. So
I've heard that's insane.
Banff National Park, Jasper National Park. Yeah,
like
truly
beautiful.
Unreal.
Like the waterfalls and all the pine, or like all the aspen trees and like all that stuff is beautiful.
Yeah, it's stunning.
Yeah.
Like Banff is, if you're gonna go somewhere in Canada and you like adventure, Banff is the place to go.
Cool. I'll take that.
It's
for sure.
Beautiful and very fun. But I'll say Yosemite.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. Well, do you have any like future plans? Is there anything that you're wanting to do yourself, like aside from work? Is there like anything down the pipe? I always ask at the end.
I mean, I want to do a lot. I think that, always my main goal is, recently I'm relating it to a movie I just saw, Booksmart. I saw a screening of it and it's phenomenal.
Cool.
And directed by Olivia Wilde.
Oh, cool.
And starring two badass ladies. And I want to make a movie like that. Like I want to direct a movie like Booksmart. Or something along
is
the
it
lines.
like is it kind of an indie feel? Is it like,
I wouldn't say that per se.
Grade?
It's like a coming of age.
Yeah.
But like
8th grade.
turning
maybe?
it. Yeah.
That movie's
But
awesome.
funnier than 8th grade. I also really enjoyed 8th grade. Sometimes I was cringing. But Bo Burnham, awesome dude.
Yeah. Bo's amazing.
But like Booksmart was written by a woman, directed by a woman, and starring two badass women, and I think that's super cool.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to follow that path. I want to make a movie that gets like that, and then I want to make a lot more.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, hopefully you have the freedom to do that, like with a job and all that stuff. I always think about that, like because of the major costs that it can be to do that stuff, and sometimes it limits your view. Kind of it gets shot because you're thinking like, man, it's kind of impossible to put it together, and like what funds are necessary to do that. Like how do you? It's crazy.
It is. It's daunting. I feel like the only way to become a filmmaker is to start off wildly broke and not know what the future holds. And maybe that's a risk I'm going to have to take in the coming years. And that would probably be moving back to Canada. But I might do that. And
you got time.
Yeah, I'm 27. I want to pursue what I love to do.
Yeah.
And I want whatever work I do to help influence other people to pursue what they want to do too, or at least like give them some sort of voice or power.
Totally.
So.
I totally feel that with this, just even with this show, because that's really the driving force for it. Is I think that this kind of content that's like driven at helping others, or just even just kind of an awareness of what's actually happening below the surface of a lot of things, is something that's missing. And I don't think that there's, Jake Paul type content is going to last very long. I think at some point,
I hope it goes away.
I think at some point that kind of BS trend will end, because inevitably that stuff, unless our society gets dumber, which I hope not, but there's a need for good content. I think, I appreciate you coming on too, because I love trying to talk with people like that, who are intentional about what they want to do, and who have a drive and a desire to see that grow and to try to help others, because at the end of the day, that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
With your life, you should be, at least in my opinion. I mean, if you can't, it's kind of, what are you doing in the arts? Because the arts are trivial if you're not.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the point of the arts is giving a voice. That's really it. And that's what it's been since the beginning, is like giving a voice to someone's story or someone's point of view or whatever else. But that's also, it's what the Oscars is every year. That's why the best picture is always like the craziest story in terms of telling people about this thing that happened.
Right.
And that's what I want to do.
And that's what the arts are too. Yep. That's the special thing. Storytelling is so like powerful and important, and we all
awesome.
need it. We all need it. Yeah, for sure. Well, Jen, thanks for being on. You can find Jen on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I don't know what you're on. You're on all of those.
But mostly Instagram.
Okay,
yeah.
What's your handle?
At Jen Matichuk.
Check it out. Thanks for being on. You can kind of catch everything that she's doing over at Good Mythical Morning on YouTube with Rhett and Link. Very cool channel. My personal favorite right now. Just a really good example of like continuing to do what you love and pushing forward. So thanks for being on, for doing that.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, thanks for following us, guys, at 1 in 20 Show, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We're growing every day. Thanks for following along. Excited to kind of keep pushing these out. I just graduated this week, so there's going to be a lot more time for doing that with no school in the way. So thanks for following along, and we'll see you all real soon.